Couple of weeks ago I've started an off-road training with my Honda Transalp, and I wish someone have told me that before I even started. In this video I'm gonna share from my perspective 5 things to consider before even think about riding off-road with a middleweight adventure bike like my Honda Transalp. And let's face it, I have to be honest with myself and tell you that before I consider riding off-road, I thought, alright, I need some proper tires and that's it. But the things are not as easier as they seem at the first sight. And I'm gonna start with the first thing which I think you should consider seriously before going off-road. And of course, we're speaking about the equipment. And when I mean equipment, I mean a proper off-road equipment, because riding off-road takes a lot of effort, and you want to have a proper ventilation. You want to have a proper comfort in order to focus on the off-roads, because riding off-road is quite challenging. There are obstacles all over the place. Unpredictable obstacles, unpredictable tracks. You don't know what to expect always as it is on the asphalt, and you need to be focused 100% on the off-road. So a proper gear, a proper ventilation to keep you in comfort. We're speaking about a proper helmet. This is the helmet I'm using right now. It's the Icon Variant Pro. I'm not saying it's the best one, but it somehow gives me a decent ventilation. It has also a solar protection, a visor, an upper visor that protects me, and I can even give up to this sun visor, which I use usually on the road on a very sunny day. So even with the standard visor, with this sun protective plastic on top, it gives me good visibility and protects me from the sun. Also, I have a proper ventilation, upwards, downwards, but this is not the best one. Of course, you might find better solutions. Helmet, it's one of the most important items in terms of equipment. A few weeks ago, I've started a video series on my channel where I actually make my own off-road trainings, where I train by myself off-road with the Honda Transalp. You might want to check it out. In this series, I'm trying to develop by my own some off-road essential skills, and I think it's interesting for you to watch, because I'm gonna make plenty of mistakes and you will be the one that will learn from it, not only myself. And let's get to the riding boots, because here we're gonna connect the riding boots to another conclusion which I got after starting my first off-road riding. As a start, I've chosen this O'Neill RMX boots, which they have an incredible protection for the price I've paid. I paid about 130–40 euros, something like that, and I think it was a good value for money for this O'Neill RMX motocross boots. And you can see they have these clamps. They have lots of protection when you compare it with the adventure touring boots. So this was my purpose, to have the best protection at the price I can afford at this moment. So I think I did a good choice trying to accommodate also with these riding boots, because it's not easy. It's not easy to ride with them at the beginning until you get used with them. But in terms of gear shifting, in terms of braking, so these are my riding boots, and I highly recommend don't go anywhere off-road without a proper riding boot which can protect you the upper side until the knee. This is very important, and I already had the situations off-road when without this boot I could get myself pretty injured. And this is a tough boot for someone who rides like myself only on mostly asphalt, and with the normal riding boots, with the touring boots or something, with the with not so much protection inside, but when I get on these ones, man, it's it's another story. And they have a special shape here on the side, on the right side of the left and on the left side of the right, to attach yourself better and be able to attach yourself better to the bike's frame. And after the boots, of course, you need a proper gear, which I don't have at the moment, and you need a special off-road gear or maybe something with a better ventilation in order to be as comfortable as possible. So ventilation, comfort, these are the words which I think you should consider. This I've encountered also, that I needed more ventilation, more comfort, and proper gear for the off-road riding. So number one, don't forget about the gear, it's super important. And let's connect the second one to the boots, because riding with these boots or riding with an off-road boots or a proper off-road gear, when you shift the gears, when you brake, you need more space between the lever and the foot peg. Therefore, number two, it's make sure you're gonna adjust both the gear lever. I put it to the max. I still can raise it up a little bit, but I feel comfortable in this position. The gear level, it's now a little bit over the foot peg, and somehow I have plenty of space to move my feet and gear shifting. The first time I was not even able to gear shift when I directly get on the bike with this one. So I was actually not able to gear shift. It was really a pain, and I was asking myself, oh man, what can I do? Did I make a huge mistake? What's happening? And then I informed myself, no one told me, and yes, someone recommend, man, put up the gear shifter, the gear level, the gear shifting lever, put it up, and then you're gonna have more comfort. And I keep it, I leave it like this even when I'm riding with the adventure touring boots. I leave it like this because it's much easier to change to shift the gears, especially off-road, but even on-road. So make sure you adjust this gear shifting lever even when you buy the bike. It's a very important detail, so focus on that and make sure you have the proper adjustment. Same on the right side. We're speaking about the brake lever, because when you brake off-road, what you would want to have, and this was told by me after I had the small crash on the right side by practicing off-road. I sent my video to a trainer, a specialized trainer in California, and he told me, man, when you shift to the max with the pedal, you should be at the same level as the foot peg. So I also need to adjust the brake lever to put it up in a way that when I press to the maximum, the brake lever stops somehow in the mid-range of the range of the foot peg. Now when I press it to the max, it goes somewhere like here. This I saw on my video. I just saw on my video when I analyzed it after the crash on the right side, and I analyzed it, and this instructor also analyzed it and said, man, you should lift the brake lever upwards, because it's affecting your ride, and also can conduct to the weight distribution, can conduct to other things which can impact your off-road riding. Now let's move to the third one, because it's also very important when we're speaking about visibility. When you ride off-road, you need to have visibility in front, but also very close to you, in front of the bike, in front, to see exactly what's your next obstacle, how to approach a different slope or an obstacle. Therefore, I think a lower windscreen will help you achieve a better visibility off-road, and I think for this bike, which already has a standard decent wind protection, I would recommend to somehow either give up to the screen and focus on the off-road riding without the screen, it's even better, or have a lower screen which will increase the visibility when riding off-road. I decided to wait a little bit. I'm gonna receive a off-road screen from a brand which I'm gonna present you in a separate video. So I'm waiting for the lower screen, which I'm gonna use for this bike in order to have a better off-road visibility. I'm gonna try also without the screen, but I think a lower screen will also give me a decent wind protection until I arrive on the asphalt to this forest or to the riding to the off-road riding place. The fourth one, it's an easy one. I've mentioned that you need to have as a rider a proper equipment that's easy to understand, but also the bike needs to be a little bit prepared for the off-road. And what I mean about that is you need some protections for your bike when you consider riding off-road, unless you have any insurance that covers the eventual damage on the bike by riding off-road, or you have plenty of money and a fender of 650 euro for this bike doesn't mean nothing to you. So you might want to consider a crash bar, an upper crash bar, maybe an engine guard, skid plate. If you don't want some big rocks to hit your radiator, maybe a radiator protection when you fall, and eventually it might happen when you fall on the side or when you take some big trees, maybe a proper hand guard will help you. If you're planning some off-road muddy section or some difficult rock climb or anything like that, you might want to consider a proper off-road tire. Of course, you can ride anytime with the street tires if your off-road skills are at high level or you are a professional. From the upright position, from any position you like, the grip on your boots is very important, and I highly recommend that you try this rally foot pegs or some proper off-road foot pegs in order to achieve the best grip possible, especially if you're riding on the mud or difficult sections. If you would like to know how I've installed all these accessories to my bike, I have a separate video in my playlists. And now we're reaching the end, last but not least, and I think one of the most important of all. Number 5, well, it's about courage or the will to go off-road. It takes courage, it takes determination, it takes motivation, and somehow you need to work with yourself in order to want to go off-road, or maybe you don't want to, maybe that's not your purpose. But most of the time riding off-road, it's like riding to unknown, and you don't know what to expect most of the times. You just want to explore, just to see the tracks, see the forest, try to make a way through the forest, through the tracks. And sometimes you need to have courage for that. Maybe you ride alone, maybe you ride in a group. I don't know, there are advantages and disadvantages, but first of all, number 5, and one of the most important things to consider, it's having the will, having the courage to explore at the end. And this might seem easy, but sometimes you're wondering yourself, reaching to the off-road point, man, what am I doing here? Maybe it's not my my place here. Sometimes things like that can occur. Someone it's somehow telling you, a voice is telling you go back, but most of the times when you have the when you have the will and the courage, you move forward, and eventually There is only one way, forward. And now it is your turn. Please tell me in the comment section, what do you consider for the 5 things you should have known before riding off-road, or the top 5 things to consider before going off-road. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.